of the stories is are. Organized labor to hold emergency meeting today to decide whether not yield to President identifies 25 persons who came into contact with 15-year-old who tested positive for mpox in the Western North region. Also coming up this morning, Democracy Hub protesters sue Attorney General and Inspector General of Police over human rights abuses. Meanwhile, they the Stop Galamsey protest continues today. Details of these and many more TV3 Ghana. Now let's begin with Galamsey-related issues because President Akufo-Addo has appealed to organized labor to suspend its intention of a nationwide strike. This follows a declaration of strike after government refused to declare a state of emergency. Organized labor says it will convene an emergency meeting Friday, that's today, to consider the president's appeal. Our labor correspondent, Daniel Opoko, filed this report.
President Akufo-Addo met the leadership of organized labor to discuss their impending strike. The meeting was held behind closed doors. Sources indicate President Akufo-Addo pleaded with organized labor to suspend its strike. He also requested for more time to attend to the concerns of organized labor. Labor has petitioned the president to consider a total ban on small-scale galamsey mining activities. The source indicated that the appeal by the president was not convincing to suspend their strike. Labour has intended to convene an emergency meeting tomorrow, Friday, the 4th of October 2024, on the appeal by the president.
Meanwhile, former director of the Ghana Law School and private legal practitioner Kweku Ansah-Ansari says President Akufo-Addo must resign and over his failure to fight galamsey. He says organized labour should stand their grounds to ensure a state of emergency is declared. Take a listen.
And I would advise organized labor to do the following. One, ask the president to step aside and hand over to his vice immediately. They should give the president up to Tuesday to hand over to his vice. There's no useful addition or useful transformation agenda that the president has to do for us during the forthcoming 8 weeks or so. Two, the president must ensure that a caretaker government is established. By now, he and his ministers should have prepared their handing over notes. So let him resign and block with his cabinet and allow the vice president to appoint interim ministers to steer the affairs of state up to election day. As far as the galamsey is concerned, my state may be in good.
Our labor correspondent, Daniel Opoko, will bring us up to speed on the outcome of organized labor's meeting today. And surely we'll furnish you with updates in our subsequent bulletins. Accra was busy Thursday as some groups calling themselves citizens of Ghana hit some principal streets in the capital to demonstrate against the arrest of some 54 protesters. The 8-hour protest saw hundreds of youth joining to also demand the end of galamsey now. Joseph Armstrong Alogbe has been following the protest and has filed this report.
The protest, which started with few protesters due to what they described as police intimidation, saw many more youth joining at every intersection. The protest gathered momentum as many more joined.
Galamsey now. Say no to galamsey.
Many of them shared their displeasure about the arrest of the 54 protesters.
free the innocent protesters and stop Galamsey.
It's absolutely ridiculous that the next generation are not guaranteed simple human rights such as free running water, clean running water. And this is going to impact our food security. It's going to impact so much. We cannot jeopardize the future of future generations like this.
I don't have anywhere to go. This is where I have, this is my country, this is where I want to be. So I want it to be better so that when I give birth to my kids, they'll come and meet a better Ghana.
Unarmed protesters, youth who are calling for a natural recall of our water bodies. The amount of, I can project like 1,000 security personnel here. Whilst our hinterlands are locked with consignments, consignments, and they are destroying our water bodies, our resources, our natural reserves. They can't send them there.
Others also spoke against comments made by the chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health, Dr. Efri, calling on the public to vote against him and any other politician who makes similar comments.
They're using something as fundamental as our environment as a talking point. It's not about politics. This is about all of us, because when the water is finished, it doesn't matter your votes. It doesn't matter if you're an MP, because it's going to happen to, when Ghana happens to all of us, what's going to happen?
If you pollute the water in your region and you are saying that just because the water is not in the south or those in Accra shouldn't be worried about it or anything of that sort, then they should vote against him. Because he doesn't have the people at heart. He obviously does not have the people at heart.
At every intersection, the protesters stopped to take a rest amid singing and dancing. After 8 hours, the demonstrators converged in front of the Usu Cemetery and later presented a petition to the Attorney General's department.
As the first day of the Stop the Galamsey protest comes to a close, the demonstrators feel their message has resonated strongly. With sheer determination, they are optimistic that momentum will continue to grow as they attract even more members in the days ahead. We'll keep our eye on these developments and keep you updated in the subsequent days. Joseph Armstrong, Go TV3, Accra.
Meanwhile, some members of the clergy have backed calls for the declaration of a state of emergency to tackle the wreck of illegal mining in the country. As some of them who spoke to my colleague Grace Hamwas-Jiman contend the current effect of the menace is a sin against humanity and nature.
Galamsey is a menace. It started very small, but now we should all put our hands on deck. I encourage every well-meaning Ghanaian to do everything we can to stamp out Galamsey.
For 6 months, if there is a total ban or a state of emergency, because it's not the best for God to give us such forests, rivers, for us deliberately to kill forests, to kill water, and to kill fishes, and to kill aquatic life in the search of gold. It's not the best. To me, it's wickedness.
So finally, natural resources that God has given to this nation must be preserved. Water is life. And if there's anything that must be preserved in this nation, that is our water bodies. Today, the rise of many different diseases, especially renal diseases, kidney diseases, kidney failure. A lot of people asking why are people getting so much renal failure and cancers and all these things. It's because there's pollution, and everybody drinks water, and we need water to survive. So if there's anything that is being done that will pollute the water bodies of this nation, it must definitely be checked, because this is a menace to society, and not only a menace to society, but something that will endanger the lives of millions of Ghanaians. And you know, we can't have a few people get wealth at the expense of the millions of Ghanaians. So I believe that the talk on Galamsey should not just be a talk, but there should be action so that we can get a hold of this thing.
These activities have depleted our rivers, depleted the mines. I mean, we are all here, fish stock, and even water resources. So our prayer is that God will help us through our leadership, the leadership of whichever government, this one or the next one, that they would come up with policies that will help restore these things. And then, above all, the young man doing galamsey himself, his conscience would strike him to say that I must stop doing what I'm doing. Now, the Bible says that the madman of Gadara, when Jesus met him, at a point when the evil spirits left him, he said that he was in his right senses. Our prayer is that the people who are physically doing the activity will come to their right senses and stop destroying the lands.
Well, if you just tuned in, you're watching the first news bulletin of the day on TV3. In more news this morning, locked-up conveners of Democracy Hub have jointly sued the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare, and the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, for unlawful detention in police custody and human rights breaches. They include Oliver Baka-Vamawo and Felicity Nelson. In a legal suit filed with the Human Rights Division of the Accra High Court, 32 individuals were penciled to have had their fundamental human rights trampled upon after they were arrested by police during a protest to seek an end to illegal mining. Counsel for the applicant, Francis Xavier Soso, is praying the court to grant 7 reliefs, which include an order to declare that the force used by the respondent on applicants was excessive, unresponsible, and unjustifiable. They also wanted the court to grant an order directed at the respondents to pay to the applicant compensation for unlawful and unwarranted breach of the applicant's fundamental human rights. Away from galamsey-related issues, the Ghana Health Service says it has identified 25 persons who came into contact with a 15-year-old who tested positive for Mpox in the Western North region. This forms part of efforts to contain the spread of the highly contagious disease as health officials across Ghana's 16 regions remain on high alert. Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Franklin Siedubekwe, spoke exclusively to TV3.
Declared it as a fake. That's public emergency of international concern. So following that, we alerted our system and then activated our surveillance system. So a lot of things has been taking place, and we have also updated our plan. So we getting the first case is not so surprising. So we actually confirmed it 2 days ago in Western North. But because our system has already been established, we have gotten 230 suspected cases, which are all negative. Congo DR has several cases, and then South Africa, even Cote d'Ivoire. But then the confirmation in Ghana brings to bear the fact that we need to heighten whatever we are doing. So we are enhancing our surveillance systems across all the regions. We are also going to make sure that our contact tracing becomes more effective and efficient. For this particular case in question, we have identified 25 contacts, which are being followed up. I think today is day 3 of it. We will follow them up to the end of the 21 days. The case in question, or I would say that it's a 15-year-old boy or male. He's fine. He just had, I would say, multiple rashes on the body and the face, and he's been seen at the facility and been discharged. So I would say that it's a stable condition. So we are trying to make sure that we follow up all the contacts and make sure that if someone should become a case, we find more contacts and follow them up. To make sure that we enhance our awareness creation across, we're going to tighten our security, I would say awareness at our port of entries, so that if people are entering, they are well trained. What we are doing as a country is that this is a time for us to heighten awareness, making sure that all clinicians look for suspected cases of Mpox and then we'll test. We should not be panicking. For 2022, we had 120 cases. Last year we had 8. So this first case shouldn't send any panic. What we want to assure Ghanaians is that the health system is available to be used. When you have rashes on your body, let know, go and apply some ointments on it. Go to a health facility, let's do the test.
Well, let's know what you make of the Mpox disease and other stories that have been aired so far, like the galamsey-related issues as well. Just go on to Facebook, TV3 Ghana Real Life. Engage us with your comments and reservations, and we'll surely read them and share them to the rest of the world. And now, the Swiss Embassy believes Ghana could emulate its system, which allocates a significant portion of locally collected revenue directed to municipal and district assemblies. Some critics attribute the slow pace of development in Ghana to the current governmental structure.
There have been growing calls for a comprehensive review of development implementation process in the country, with some advocating for a complete overhaul of the system. The Swiss embassy believes that Ghana could emulate Switzerland's model, where a substantial portion of locally collected revenues is allocated directly to municipal and district assemblies, enabling them to better address the pressing needs of their communities.
This is an example which can be also looked at within this program, and Ghana is a very good example of having also this, or trying to equilibrate, or to have this not too many differences between the districts. So these are examples which can be also looked at, which might also be interesting to look at.
Speaking at the same event, Dr. Winfred Nelson, Director of Development Coordination at the National Development Planning Commission, urged metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies to adopt a more business-oriented approach in their operations to drive development.
You enter a district, for example, they have waterfalls. There's one in Chachadu now as we speak, in the Volta region. So they partnered with the Bui Dam and another organization. It was intended to bring power. But at the end of the day, for example, it's giving them quite a lot of revenue out of tourism. This was partnership. So we're looking at, one, the resources that are in the district and how best, when you partner, you can turn things around.
These were part of conversations held at the launch of the German-Swiss cooperation in support of decentralization in Ghana.
In more news this morning, over 435 companies have been liquidated since the passing of the Corporate Insurance and Restructuring Act 2020. Only 3 companies have gone into administration. The Ghana Association of Restructuring and Insolvency Advisors, CARIA, said this is unacceptable and has therefore called for efforts to turn distressed companies around before the option of liquidation.
Association of Restructuring and Insolvency Advisors, GARIA, is an industry body of professionals, including judges, accountants, lawyers, bankers and regulators. As Ghana's insolvency landscape evolves, there is increasing recognition of the need for robust insolvency practices to ensure economic stability and growth. However, there remains a significant gap in the knowledge and application of insolvency laws and practices among stakeholders. At a 2-day business rescue training workshop for insolvency practitioners, President of GARIA Felix Addo said the judiciary must create a special court to handle insolvency cases.
Insolvency is a very complex subject area, and you cannot have one judge being a specialist in all these areas. So we are asking the CJ to look into creating a bankruptcy court with dedicated judges who will be trained and who will know and appreciate what insolvency issues are.
Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice Dinah Sumeni said the office will provide assistance to the Registrar of Companies to support companies in distress.
Passage of laws in themselves is not enough. You need to have some capacity building. You need to work on sensitization of stakeholders. And so for us as a supervising ministry, it's not just about passage of the law, but to continue through the office of the Registrar of Companies to support, first of all, awareness creation and also build capacity.
The 2-day Business Rescue 101 workshop is under the theme Navigating Successful Business Rescue.
Well, before we part company, repair works on the atomic flyover have begun with temporary closure and diversion of the Accra-bound stretch of the Lagos-Madina Highway. Expansion joints of the flyover have been exposed, creating discomfort and fear to motorists. Sounds of tires could be heard bumping into the gaps while plying the flyover. The repair works, which will last 19 days, started October 3, that's yesterday, and will be completed in October 2022. October 22, with a closure and diversion starting from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily within the stipulated period. The coverings of the expansion joints at the Atomic Junction flyover, which connects Adenta, Madina to Legon, on the N4 highway have come off, creating inconvenience to motorists. The expansion joints allow the concrete to naturally expand and contract without cracking. To prevent stress and cracking, expansion joints ensure the longevity of bridges and reduce the need for costly repairs. In addition, the joints contribute to safety by providing a smooth and comfortable ride for drivers and passengers, while minimizing structural defect. Despite the bitumen that were used to fill some of the joints at the Atomic Junction flyover, a couple of them have been exposed. Like I rightly mentioned, the diversion will actually begin at 8 p.m. Tonight and open the next day, that's at 6 a.m. And that will be done for the next 19 days. Indeed, we are your election command center. Trust us for credible reportage before, during, and after the general elections. And now the National Democratic Congress in the Northeast region says, despite flag bearer of the new patriotic party hailing from the region, it remains unperturbed about their chances as the NDC is more poised to winning all 6 seats in the region. The flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has been campaigning in the region. Komla Kluche brings us the following report.
John Mahama commenced his day 2 of the Northeast Regional Campaign with a visit to the palace of the Chief of Nakpanduri. After a closed-door meeting, John Mahama met and engaged the elders and the community.
This part of the country is an integral part of Ghana, and you deserve to be able to participate in the decision-making. So I can assure you that when we form our government, definitely, we would make sure that you are part of the decision-making table. Every part of this country deserves to be part of making decisions.
Shortly after that, he moved to Bukburugu. At the palace of the Bimoba chief, he asked John Mahama to ensure he remains fair and candid in all his works as success beckons.
If you say you want to take anger and destroy something, win your power, it can happen. That can never help you. That will never help you. But if you use Inna Allah Ma'aswabirin, let them cheat you. The one who think he can cheat you, the one who think he has power, let him cheat you and you see what will happen. You just sit down and fold your hands looking to that person.
John Mahama says presidency under him will ensure lasting peace in the enclave for business to return to normalcy. He then moved to the market square where he addressed the supporters.
When that opportunity comes, you have to think carefully before you make that choice, because it is about your life. If you make a wrong choice, it will affect your life. If you make the right choice, it will affect your life and make your life better. So that opportunity is coming again. And our former president, if you remember President Kofo, he said in Tree, for those of you who understand Tree, he said, Shewasitlem Nato Abapa.
With a thunderous welcome, the entourage then moved to Yo-Yo.
We have been deceived by the wicked MPP.
Several defectees from the MPP stormed the campaign grounds showering support for the NDC to oust the current NPP administration. The Northeast Regional Chairman Abdul Rauf Tanko says the unity of the NDC is firm and will sweep the region.
NDC is united, is more united, and I can assure you that we are more united than ever. We are reasonable enough. You know, let's use the case of lions. When they are attacking their prey, they come together, right, to be able to attack. When they finish and then the prey is lying down, then they start fighting. But when they are fighting, you know, in attacking the prey will have the way of moving away. So we are committed, we are together, and we will make sure, inshallah, on December 7th, we will be declared winners of these elections in the region and in the whole of Ghana.
For John Mahama, this is a different election from all other elections. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Yo.
Well, on that campaign note, we end the morning news. For more news updates, just log on to our website. It's 3news.com. Some people dream about success, while other people wake up every morning to make it happen. Trust you're one of them. My name is George Quinn. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Have a good morning.